It's Dr. Rowe here, going live here on YouTube, and I want to start to do this on a regular basis. I thought I'd come on talk to you because at the moment there's this huge marketplace of artificial intelligence and everybody's getting excited about it, which is great. What I personally feel is that there is now a shift where people are now getting more nervous about getting onto camera and they're leaning more on artificial intelligence. Having been in the field of communicating, training people to speak, going in and teaching entrepreneurs, business people, anyone that really wants to communicate with an audience on a one-to-one basis with customers, one of the blocks I see more and more now is this fear of how to come on and talk to camera, which I think is a really important subject to address. Now, obviously, I want to start doing these live, so I haven't got any specific chats coming in at the moment as I'm opening up on this because it's the first one I'm doing, but I have got some points that I've written down here from messages that have come in. So what I want to talk about here is basically overcoming that block that you may have when it comes to talking on camera. If you are a journalist, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're basically somebody going into a career and want to become more skilled at what you do in terms of your communication, that's one thing. But coming onto camera, speaking to camera like this, being able to articulate a message quickly and clearly and effectively, and doing it in such a way that you keep people's attention, but also you give value, that can be a lot more challenging because people think about, what am I going to say? What if I clam up? And one of our greatest fears is fear of rejection and fear of public speaking, interestingly enough. Now, public speaking traditionally was going in front of an audience and speaking to a whole group of people. Whereas now the fear has magnitude and sort of transferred into the fear of going on camera and communicating like this in front of an audience, whether it's a recording or whether it's live. So what I would say at this stage is this: if you're thinking about doing anything, any sort of message or any sort of live videoing, what I would recommend you do is the following. First of all, work out what your overall message is that you want to get across. What's the outcome of that particular video that you want to do, that live session? Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just think about what it is you want to cover in that video, whether it's a 5-minute, 10-minute, 15, 20, 30-minute live. This will probably be about 10 minutes long. Now, bearing in mind that when you start to do lives or anything on video, lives will involve interaction, whereas a video is a recording which you do for a finite length of time, and then at the end of it you can edit it. So you can take out some of the blurps and the pauses and the ums, and I've got videos on dealing with ums which we can cover on a separate occasion. So I think what I want to talk about here is just being comfortable with the process of getting on the camera. The issue is not the camera, the issue is the blocks that are going on in your head. So remember, you are somebody that has a message to share, whether it's health, whether it's finance, whether it's building wealth, whether it's teaching people a specific subject. In my case, the key messages that I have are around communication and transformation. That's it, keeping it really simple. Communication and transformation, whether it's communication one-to-one in front of an audience, whether it's transformation in your life, your health, your relationships. Simple, powerful, but very effective for people's lives. So you come on, for example, today, the main message I want to get across to you is just get comfortable getting onto camera and giving it a go. That's it. I don't want to get you going off and talking to a client. I don't want to discuss with you talking about being in front of a group of 1,000 or 10,000 or 15 or 20,000 people. When I've gone to large events and walked onto stage, the very first time I did it, it was quite a nerve-wracking experience. Oddly enough, talking in a small room with only 20 people, if they're people that you're closely connected with and you know well, that can be more intimidating than talking to 20,000, because when you're talking in front of 20,000 people, you tend to only see the line of people in front of you and this kind of mass of faces and lights on you. Coming onto camera is very different because now you can see warts and all. You can see if I haven't cleaned my glasses, you can see any marks on my face, did I shave properly this morning, all these things. And so we can become very self-conscious, but I think authenticity is really important. So first of all, first thing to remember with any type of coming to camera is simply this: what is the objective of this particular video that I'm doing on camera? Once you've got clear on the objective, then you decide on what it is you want to get into that video. Because an objective can be, for example, I want to teach people how to sell a product. And I can teach you how to do that, but that's a vast subject in itself. I could spend a whole day doing that. but actually I might just want to choose one message or two messages or three messages. In this video, the primary messages are outcome. Choose your messages carefully. And number three, have the mindset and the belief that there's something of value in what you're teaching, and as long as you're authentic, it will resonate with somebody out there, and don't worry about the people that it doesn't resonate with. That's it, my three messages. So the first message is have a clear outcome. The other question that comes up with people is like, well, how many messages do I need to fit into my videos when I'm sharing like this? Just remember, the more information you give people, it's like looking at a menu. The more information you give people, the more choices they have, the less they can make a decision. So if you keep your messages simple, I've got three for you today, then they'll remember it. What you want people to do is come off that video. If nothing else, they go, oh yeah, next time I go out to a meeting or next time I get my camera out, I just got to remember what's the main thing I want to say to people. And all of a sudden, bang, now what you've got is a situation where you remember what to say and they're going to remember what you told them. So keep those messages simple. What I would suggest you do is think about how the outcome is where you want to get them to, and you're starting here. So what are the key things I need to say to get them to that point? Anything else you say that could be a distraction will get their brain thinking about something else. Like if I said to you, what color underwear were you wearing this morning when you woke up and got dressed? Your brain will go off and think about that. If I said to you, don't think of a red elephant, you've got to think of a red elephant to not think of a red elephant. So the minute you bring something into your communication on camera, for example, that is a distraction to the main message, it actually loses the viewer and the person that's watching. I don't know if this is making any sense to you, but hopefully it is. And then what I would say at that point there is you just simplify and you say, well, I want to get all this information across. Where do I start? Simple. Go back to the start and say, right, I want to get them to hear the outcome. So I'm going to have three key messages. I'm going to put everything else aside. So what's my first message? Be clear on your outcome. What's my second message to you? Don't overkill with the messages. Keep it simple. I would say 2 to 3 maximum. I've got a video here that's going to be about 5 to 10 minutes long. 3 messages is more than enough. And the third message I want to get across to you today is the mindset. And I think this is fundamentally the biggest. People are fearful of how they appear on camera. People are fearful of how they're perceived. And often we see ourselves in a way that other people don't see us. I'm aware of what my flaws are. I'm aware of the little things that come across when I'm speaking. I'm aware that my voice, for example, is tired at the moment. But that's partly because I've been going through cancer treatment for the last year. I have an ileostomy bag, and my diaphragm is under pressure because of the operation that I had, so my breathing has changed. Okay, that's information that I'm sharing with you that I'm aware of, but if you didn't know me, you wouldn't know that. If you saw me stay on stage a year and a half ago, my voice was much stronger and more powerful. The weakness in my voice, the quietness in my voice could be a reason for me to say, I don't want to do this anymore, but I should wait. But I'm not waiting for it to be perfect. I just want to deliver the message to you. So we're always going to be fearful of the things that we're aware of about ourselves. But the reality is this, people don't know those things. And as long as your message has meaning, as long as you're authentic, and as long as what you're saying to people is real and you believe in it and it has value and it grabs their attention and they go away feeling, I got something from that, and they feel grateful for that, that's enough. You don't need to worry about anything else. And that's really what I want to say to you is come to the table, put your fears aside and try it out. And it might be the first time you fall off the bike, the second time you fall off the bike, the 5th time you fall off the bike. This is my first live on YouTube, and there's very few people watching. Am I worried about that? Not really, because I haven't really announced it. I haven't gone out and made a big thing. I just want to start this process and start to activate it. As more people become aware that I'm doing lives and they know that, they'll come on and they'll go, oh, Dr. O's doing a live, let's just chat with him, let's drop him a message. You may have a question you want to ask me, and I'll have a look down, I'll read the question and I'll answer it. You know, if you're coming to the table as an expert and knowledgeable in your subject, you shouldn't be afraid of questions. Actually, welcoming questions is a really good way of going into any communication, because what it lets people know is that, number one, you're not afraid to talk about the very subject that you're talking about. But secondly, you're an expert, you know the subject. And if you don't know the answer to the question, that's fine. Say, well, great question. I actually don't know the answer to that, but I can come back and deal with that later. I can actually come back and answer that once I've looked into it. Or it might be that the question is not relevant to the subject you're talking about. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. It's what? How long have we been going? 9 minutes, just coming up to 10 minutes. Perfect. Hopefully it was of value. I'll see you on my next live. stay connected, and I'm not sure how to get off this. So hopefully I can stop it somewhere here. Streams, brand new. Okay, and nice to see you here, by the way. Stop. Yes.